Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of News Dabs with Jimmy Young for the Cannabis Multimedia Network, or go to CMN.com. We look for the interesting little tidbits of news in the emerging cannabis industry from around the world to right here in Massachusetts. This week, we start with a major development in Washington, D.C., a bill that will allow banks to accept money from cannabis businesses that comply with their individual state laws has passed the House Financial Services Committee by a 45-15 vote. Called the SAFE Act, it has moved out of committee, and the next step is the floor of the House of Representatives. Congressman James McGovern from Massachusetts was quoted in a radio interview last week that he expects the House to vote on legislation to end federal cannabis prohibition within a matter of weeks. McGovern says, "We will guide it to the House floor for a vote, which I think it will pass with an overwhelming margin, and that a strong bipartisan vote will increase pressure on the Senate." In an upcoming episode of In the Weeds podcast, I talked with Jessica Bartlett of the Boston Business Journal about this development.
I mean, there's still a number of steps it has to clear before this becomes law, but it's an incredible first step and a promising first step in solving what has been a very prominent problem for the industry.
They have no place to bank.
Right. Well, and the problem is that some banks have entered into this space, but the number of banks is quite low, and they're also being very quiet about it because there's still that fear the federal government could come in and seize all of their assets if they are doing business with banks.
Bartlett was on hand at Tufts University in Medford for the Cannabis Debate, a panel discussion presented by the Experimental College at Tufts University. District Attorney Rachel Rollins was there, along with Cannabis Control Commissioner Shalene Title and other academics. That panel discussion was carried live on the Cannabis Multimedia Network, courtesy of Tufts University.
There is a place called Consumer Labs, consumerlabs.com, I think is the website. It's a private organization, but it does testing of all types of dietary supplements, including CBD.
After the panel discussion, everybody broke up and went to classrooms for more informal and direct conversations about the emerging cannabis industry in Massachusetts and other states.
To that address, and then we come back in June and we publish the final regulations.
There will be another dispensary open for adult use or recreational sales of cannabis as Patriot Care adds that offering to their already existing medical sales in Greenfield. Speaking of sales, now with 13 dispensaries operational in the Bay State and the Netta opening in Brookline last Saturday when the industry sold over $1 million of weed in one day, we checked the Massachusetts State Tote Board. In week 18 of operation, there was $5.253 million of sales, including that Saturday, March 23rd, and that brings the total to over $64 million in gross revenue sales since sales began. Two more notes or dabs for you this week. A committee in the state of New Hampshire's House of Representatives has approved a bill to legalize adult use of cannabis. Well, we all know how disgusting bong water can be. Well, imagine if you were a liquor distillery and your gin or vodka decided it would be a good marketing tactic to advertise that their cannabis-infused products certainly don't taste like bong water. Huh? It's a hemp-based vodka and gin product by Fat Dog Spirits Distillery, and the Wall Street Journal ripped the beverages for tasting foul. But hey, it's better than bong water, right? Pretty much anything is, I guess. That's this week's News Dabs with Jimmy Young for the Cannabis Multimedia Network. Remember, it's a whole new world of weed out there, and we leave you again with our cannabis community calendar for events in the Boston area coming up.